Senator Kelly, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General, great seeing you again. Good to see an A6 intruder pilot here in front of the committee. I love that airplane. I want to discuss electronic warfare with you. As you know, we face a lot of challenges in the Western Pacific. The EW environment is changing dramatically. And to be successful in a conflict, we are going to have to utilize some non-kinetic capabilities as well beyond what we can today. And that means we need to be able to test and experiment and train all in a realistic operational environment across all domains against emerging technologies and peer threats. That's why in the fiscal year 26 NDAA, we added a provision to carry out a demonstration of a joint multi-domain kinetic and non-kinetic testing and training environment across the services by connecting existing ranges and training sites in the Western states, so stitching these things together. And we've seen efforts like the Western Regional Range Complex, where it can provide warfighters with realistic training in both very complex and congested multiple domain and electronic magnetic spectrum environments through a combination of advanced live and virtual and constructive environments with advanced modeling, simulation, all together with the relevant threat systems. So in your view, General, how important is it to have joint multi-domain testing and training environments that blends kinetic and non-kinetic efforts and effects to enable realistic training?
Senator, it's critical, and it's not an option. When back in the A6 days, we used to be pretty good at this, of penetrate, exploit, using the EM spectrum, whether it was EA6Bs, whether it was F111s, and we got out of that business for a long time, probably for the right reasons. But all the things that you indicate, and going back to Senator Budd's point about training, live, virtual, constructive, stitching together the ranges, having the ability to emit and receive and work out the systems is critical. It's not a choice.
And can you talk a little bit about how this applies to a conflict with China, which I do not believe is inevitable, but a conflict with China in the Western Pacific?
Use of, exploitation of, and the ability to manipulate the EM spectrum is part of your warfighting function of fires, of intel, et cetera. And you have to be able to do that in the way that you just spoke about from a training perspective in order to apply it should we have to fight.
And what are some of the challenges to getting this established here in CONUS, and how are we going to overcome these challenges?
If confirmed as the chairman of the JROC, this will be one of the key operational problems that we pursue, which is electronic warfare more specifically, but electromagnetic spectrum. You can use the word dominance or exploitation. So in my position, should I be confirmed, this will be an operational problem that we will hit head on.
Yeah, I think it's a multi-department approach here. We're going to have to work with the FAA. We've already started to do some of that. But to be able to get this airspace appropriately stitched together, and also even beyond the EW, training, as weapon systems become more advanced, air-to-air missile systems are becoming longer range, so we need bigger ranges. The stick is longer. We can't have guys, having to turn and just immediately take a shot, virtual or real, and then immediately turn around and try to do it again. I mean, that gets, really challenging. I have another question about, before I was an A6 guy, I was at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. Talk a little bit briefly in my remaining time about how important it is for us to rebuild our U.S. Merchant Marine when you're considering logistics across a 5,000-mile Pacific Ocean.
You know, you want a new idea, read an old book and look at the Merchant Marine and how they enabled victory in World War II. We need to take that not as an exact model, but as an exemplar of how we need to build back merchant shipping, merchant sailors from the master on down.
All right. Thank you, General.
Thank you, Senator Kelly.